My dad did not like comic books. He would take them from me and burn them as I watched. Naturally, as a kid, that made me very upset. Dad did not like that. Not one little bit. He reached over the table, grabbed me by the collar with his steak knife, and put it in my mouth. Why so serious? Luckily, we now live in the digital age. And now I have made myself a home here at the Entertainment Nerd. Kick your feet up and stay a while. Greetings, nerds. This is brought to you by Entertainment Nerd. www.entertainmentnerd.club. Reminding you all to keep it nerdy.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Nerd Talk. And as you might notice, I got a new face here with me today, WhoKnowz13. And we're going to just be discussing today the DCEU, and we're both DCEU people, so we're going to make it very DC centric, for this one room, kind of fuck Marvel, but so very DC centric. So well, the very first thing I want to mention before we get started is, if you'll see down in the ticker there that we do have a website. It's entertainmentnerd.club. There we post blogs almost every day, about 3-4 a day. So go there and get your nerd on. We also do have an Amazon store that if you purchase from us, we do get a cut from that. You can be sure to check us out there. A lot of nerdy memorabilia. So right in time for Christmas, if you got a nerd in your life, I'm pretty sure we got something there that you'll enjoy and something there you would like to purchase. Now, without further ado, let's get started with this nerd talk. So WhoKnowz13. Let's talk about The Flash, the movie versus the TV show. First, I want to ask you, who do you got? Who's in your corner? Who's the best?
No disrespect to Ezra Miller. The guy's been in a lot of stuff. He's, I'm sure he's doing the best that he was given. But I got to give it to Grant Gustin. That he's just got the charisma that the Flash should have. He just does it well.
I would agree. Grant Gustin embodies the role, and I don't know if it's one of those things where, he came to the gate for that. Anybody who comes to the gate first, kind of is, well, that's my Flash because that's what I know. And maybe right. Ezra Miller kind of was in a place where he never was going to live up, kind of like Jared Leto with the Joker.
Right. I think that's the thing with Ezra Miller is that he didn't. I can only assume that the reason why it's so jarringly different is because he did see Grant Gustin's Flash, and so he didn't want to kind of do the same thing. He wanted to be his own version of the Flash, and I got to respect him for doing that, but I just can't get over that run. It's such a goofy. I don't understand it.
And I mean, this would be very tactful, but yeah. Rami Fates, you hit the nail on the head. He came across very clumsy. But the word I was going to look for was special.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you almost like had Asperger's or something like that. Like it seemed kind of. It might be wrong. It might be a little bit too harsh there. But do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely different, to say the least. It just, everything about the character just doesn't really seem right to me. Like, that's not who Barry Allen is supposed to be. It doesn't really, he just seems like off to himself, like doesn't really want to talk to anybody, like super shy kind of guy. And it's like, yeah, maybe at first that makes sense, but there's that charisma behind the Flash that you need, because Barry Allen has that, charisma to kind of joke in serious situations and still make everything work out in the end. And it just seems like the only thing that I really saw in the movie was it seems like every time that the Flash in the movie is, running around using the Speed Force is to run away almost.
Oh,
And
and he
that's
even,
not necessarily it.
makes that comment in the movie, doesn't he? Like he's all like, "All I do is run away," or whatever that comment was.
Yeah.
In that Frankenstein piece of shit of a movie, which we maybe we'll talk about a little bit later, maybe. But yeah, he just clumsy was the word. I agree, Mommy Fate's there. I'm harsh and sus as fuck. What? You're sus. But I would agree. Like even that interaction, that first interaction with Bruce and Justice League.
Yes.
And Justice League, it came across as awkward. And like I remember seeing that scene and being like, that's not how Grant Gustin would have done it. You know?
No, absolutely not.
And granted, in the comics, you know, we've had different versions of Barry. His personality has evolved and changed depending on what comic and who's handling him. Whether you have the Jeff Johns run or any other run, they all have their versions of Barry. But I think there's a nice through line, regardless in the comics at least, or whoever has him. You still have the cornerstone of Barry, and I feel that cornerstone of Barry was lost.
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
And I think that's one of the things with live action adaptations of comic book characters that people kind of get lost is they want their own creative like look on it. And when you don't really have a live action, like we don't have a DCEU Flash that we've seen in a movie with all these other superheroes before, like I don't think they should have went with, okay, we're going to do our own thing now. I think they should have started with, this is the Flash everybody knows and loves. This is the one we're going to bring into the live action movies. This is the one we're going to start our universe off with because it is the Flash. I mean, he's been known to run back in time and mess something up once or twice. So if they wanted to do their own version, they could have done it later down the line. I just don't think that they should have started off with, the creative choice that they went with this time.
Yeah, it's kind of like we have this thing we say around here, Austin. It's with this thing that we say, "Fuck Barry Allen," because he's always fucking up shit.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah, he's always doing something.
He can't just leave shit alone. Like, it's like, dude, have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? Like, come on, man. Like,
if anybody should understand that, it should be him with how many times he's messed up the universe.
It's like, calm your shit. Mommy Face makes a good point. She's like, story writers and directors do what they want, and we know it. That is true. That's very true.
They sometimes they make good calls with like certain adaptations of people, but they kind of missed on this one.
I would agree. Speaking of missing and possibly be able to correct things, Snyder's Justice League.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot more of Barry. Actually, it sounds like Barry's a very essential point of the story.
Okay.
In the Justice League movie, from what I understand, you're going to get the Iris West scene. I don't know if you heard that there was the scene was supposed to be in Justice League.
No,
in the
I didn't know Iris was supposed to be in the movie.
Yes. So in Zack Snyder's original version, before he was let go, because you do know that Joss Whedon took over, right?
Yes, it was there was something with his daughter. Right?
Yes, his daughter committed suicide.
Right, that's what it was. Yeah.
But a lot of people say like they used that as a scapegoat to let him go. Like they were looking for a reason to let him go. Because as you know, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, they weren't very critically acclaimed.
Right.
So, and Warner Bros. Has this thing of like, we're very much jumping the gun and very much like panic mode when it comes to things that are not working. I think it's obvious when it comes to their marketing. You could tell that. They're definitely not Marvel at this point. They don't have a cohesive story. But what we're getting at. So when Zack Snyder left and Joss Whedon took over, a lot of scenes were left on the cutting room floor because a lot of them were Zack Snyder's scenes. And one of those scenes was Barry Allen meeting Iris West and like saving her from getting ran over by, I think, a bus or something. He like runs in and saves her and like, gets her out of the way. And that was supposed to be one of the scenes. And but they obviously left on the cutting room floor. Now with the Zack Snyder cut, they're bringing all Zack Snyder stuff back and putting it back in the movie.
Do we know what the runtime is going to be on the Zack Snyder cut?
It's supposed to be like 3 hours long, but what they're going to do is they're going to put it on HBO Max and 4 hours. Mommy Face says, thank you for the correction there. 4 hours long, and what they're going to do is they're splitting into my understanding is 1 hour episodes. They're going to make it more episodic, and on HBO Max, which I think is a smart idea.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to it because I'm definitely not sitting down and watching a 4 hour movie. I mean, I already did it with Titanic. It pissed me off. That's one ass movie to wait 4 hours for a ship to sink, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
But so I'm excited about that. But what I'm getting at is we don't really know all that stuff on the cutting room floor. And not only set the stuff on the cutting room floor, but he's shooting. It wasn't really supposed to be this way, but he's now shooting additional photography. So there's so what started as like a 3 hour movie, that's where I got the 3 hour runtime from, is now like a 4 hour movie with additional photography. So they have a lot more time to dive into the Barry Allen character. Now, my question for you is, what would you hope to see in this cut? What was not explored in Justice League that you'd like to see explored in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Well, before the Aquaman movie came out, obviously there was very minimal things. I think it was in Batman v Superman. I think at the end, after the credits, there was an Aquaman like teaser that was there, and that was kind of like thrown out. And so, watching Justice League, growing up being an Aquaman fan myself, I was super excited to see what they were going to do with a live action, especially with Jason Momoa casted as Aquaman. If anybody's going to play Aquaman, I think they kind of hit the nail on the head with that one.
I was about to ask you that. Do you agree with that casting?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The man obviously knows his way around water, and you kind of need that for somebody that's going to play Aquaman. Mm-hmm. Aquaman in the live action, I'll say, they did take a different approach, because in the original comics, obviously Aquaman was looked at as the joke of the Justice League. He's always getting the hard end of the stick. I do like how they went with like this more hard-earned, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, like not necessarily into the Atlantis thing just yet, just kind of doing whatever he wants to do, saving people because he knows it's the right thing to do type of thing. And I just think that creative difference I agreed with, because it worked out so well with the character they chose.
Yes.
So I'm definitely excited to see more Aquaman and the Zack Snyder Justice League. I do also want to see, I remember it's been a while since I've seen that movie because it wasn't nearly as good as I was hoping it to be. But there was a little like cutscene they showed of this huge battle that was going on. And I do specifically remember seeing a Green Lantern light at some point.
You did.
Green Lantern as a child has always been, my top three in my superheroes. Is always Aquaman, the Flash, and Green Lantern. Well, we've got two of them. And the Green Lantern movie, no disrespect to Ryan Reynolds, but it wasn't nearly as good as it should have been. And so I'm hoping, and I'm not sure if they've said anything about it. I haven't read too much on the Zack Snyder cut, but I'm hoping that Green Lantern is going to get a chance to kind of show up a little bit more, even if it's just in that little fight sequence.
Now, do you hope it's Ryan Reynolds, or do you hope for like a totally new Green
Lantern? Honestly speaking, I would probably hope for somebody new, just so that way they can kind of try it over again. The Green Lantern, there's hundreds of thousands of different Green Lanterns that there could be, and I think that they would probably be better off picking somebody different, just because Ryan Reynolds has everything going with Deadpool and whatnot. So it'd be kind of weird to see the same person in Marvel and DC at the same time. And I think they would probably be better off picking somebody different for.
I mean, you could have Guy Gardner. You could have You could have any number of Green Lanterns. You could have Sinestro before he turns evil. You could have really anyone you want to choose from. I agree with that. The talk is it's going to be Ryan Reynolds. That's why I asked you how you're going to feel.
Okay.
That Ryan Reynolds will make a cameo.
I wouldn't necessarily be upset about it. I just the movie was pretty terrible. So if they're going to bring him back to play Green Lantern, I'd be okay with it as long as they, you know, obviously have a better production value, which Justice League would, because it was just kind of corny with the Ryan Reynolds solo movie. So I would hope for something a little bit better if they're going to bring all of these superheroes together, you know, kind of all at once before kind of making everybody solo movies. I'd like to see, you know, some kind of cohesion there that makes sense.
Right. I'm guessing it's probably a way better value, rare production than what we're now labeling as Justice League. You know, because you know, Shrek Superman was not a no-go for me. totally just took me out of the movie. I could not deal. Yeah. But as far as Aquaman goes, I totally agree with you that I love the approach they took. That Zack Snyder's vision that later was transmitted to Josh was taken in the movie, because he was more than a man that talked to fish, you know.
Right.
And he wasn't this running joke that the comics kind of sometimes make him. No. He's very New 52-ish as far as Aquaman goes. I was almost expecting him, and this may happen in Aquaman 2, by the way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think he will lose the arm in Aquaman 2.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Or lose a hand, I should say, not his foot. Yeah. I believe that'll happen in Aquaman 2. So we got a much more hardened version of Aquaman, which I totally am behind. Another character that's said to pop up in Zack Snyder's Justice League is Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
And I see that spark there. You're excited about that?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So growing up, you know, I'm only 23 years old, so obviously I didn't really grow up. All these comics were like, I was probably 2-3 years old when all these comics were really popping off, and you know, I didn't really understand this like superpowers that Martian Manhunter had. I didn't really understand him at all. And going back to the Flash, the Grant Gustin, you know, show also has the Supergirl universe going on, and they've got Martian Manhunter there, and I think they play that pretty well. And so seeing what they can do with a movie production value, I think that would be pretty cool to bring Martian Manhunter in here. That'd be awesome. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of set the seeds, and I won't ruin it for you, but they kind of set the seeds. They've already told you. People know who Martian Manhunter already is. He's appeared in the movie already.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's appeared in the movies already.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. I'm glad that they've kind of already had him there, and he just show up out of nowhere. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Because as you know, Martian Manhunter can take a form.
Oh yeah. And
you know, be anybody he wants to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've already planted the seeds for that.
Nice.
And I'd be interested to see later on if you kind of be like, I'll have a ha-ha. Be like, yeah. but yeah, he's already appeared in the movie. So you're going to get more Martian Manhunter. They've also announced that Jared Leto's Joker is coming back. He'll be in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Okay.
That's not so exciting there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Jokers, and you know, they're all obviously unique because going back to the Ezra Miller discussion, you know, they all kind of wanted to make for themselves because somebody did it before them, arguably better. So, you know, following up after each Joker before them, you know, how do you beat that? You know, growing up watching the you know, the cartoons, you know, Mark Hamill, the voice of the Joker, that's always been my guy. And so growing up, you know, that was my Joker. And so it's like, it's almost like every laugh that I hear after that, it doesn't quite hit enough. You know, I will say, you know, there are a couple of other Jokers that did very well, but I just don't think that Jared Leto I think he kind of missed the ball on that one. But it also could have been because of the movie he was in, you know, Suicide Squad. You know, it had its ups, it had its downs. I mean, it was a fun movie, but I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say it was a good movie. You know,
it was more of a music video. There was
there was a lot. I feel like there was a lot of wasted potential as well. There was a lot of characters that they just kind of like offs, like as soon as they had the chance to shine. And I think they focused a little bit on like the plot was not there at all. There was basically no plot in the entire movie. So if they can bring the Joker in and have it make sense and not just have him there to have that name in the universe, then I'd be interested to see what they do. But I'd honestly think I'd like to see either a different Joker in the future or maybe even a universe without one, and maybe have some kind of Harley Quinn kind of thing going on instead. Because I feel like every Batman movie for the last 2 decades, it was Batman and then the Joker, and that was it.
I would agree.
These characters are they're there.
Yeah, Batman's Rogues Gallery is so huge.
Oh yeah,
so huge. I mean, we don't have to always have the Joker. I mean, there's so many villains you could focus on. You know, freaking Calendar Man if you want to. I don't care.
But anybody.
But you know, Two-Face, the Riddler.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the Gotham. I recently started watching that this year, and I think the Penguin in that show is absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, he was incredible.
Really good.
Very much.
So like they can definitely do something better. Like I am excited to see the new Batman movie coming out with Robert Pattinson. The trailer was incredible. The he looks like he is going to be playing arguably one of the best Batman. And I was very skeptical when I first heard about it, but after seeing him in action, I do think that it could be a great movie. I just kind of hope that they don't do something corny and just throw the Joker in because it's Batman.
Yes. Well, from the trailers, it seems like joining Batman Glitter Sparkles. Sorry, I had to say Glitter Sparkles there.
Yes.
Joining Batman Glitter Sparkles, it seems like you have, like Mommy Face says, emo sparkly Batman.
Yes, that guy.
But joining him, it seems like they've announced the castings of the Penguin, who's going to be Colin Farrell.
Okay.
And they have announced Riddler as well as going to appear in it. They haven't mentioned of the Joker. So far it sounds like the main villains you're focused on are the Riddler and Penguin.
Yeah, and I think that it'd be smart to start off with, a couple of villains that people recognize, and then if everything works out, I'd like to see in the second movie, maybe villains that haven't been in any movies before. Batman's got hundreds of different bad guys that he's fought in the comics, and just to play the same 3, yes, you can do different adaptations of them, but it's going to get old eventually. You can't just keep recasting the same 3 villains, So I think it'd be pretty cool to see, if they carry on with another movie doing, 2 or 3, maybe all at once that were never in it,
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And I would like for them, like you said, just touch on villains that we haven't touched on before. And I think the Gotham series did that really, really good. Really, really good.
Gotham was actually, I got to hand it to DC. Their shows, they're pretty much on top of their stuff. I mean, the CW Flash, universe there with all of those superheroes, I will say one thing about the Flash. I mean, they've mentioned Atlantis a couple of times. They've talked about, we know a guy that, lives in Atlantis or whatever, or has been to Atlantis. And it's like, you keep saying it, bring my man to the show. Right. I want to see it. I want to see what they do.
I mean, they did it in Smallville. So
yes. Yeah. And another thing with the show, I'm really glad that, so yes, Marvel's got, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, everybody's seen all the movies and whatnot. It's good. It worked. But one thing I'll give to DC is unfortunately, I'm not entirely caught up with the latest season of The Flash, but the episode where they went to all the different, I think it was 3 or 4 episodes. It was Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, yes.
They brought Ezra Miller's Flash to the show.
They did. That was so cool.
That like I said, Grant Gustin's a better Flash for sure, but just the fact that they were able to bridge the 2 worlds like that, that's just incredible. They're definitely, just by doing that one simple thing, they're able to set up infinite possibilities.
Blew my mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way,
bringing back all the Smallville cast as well. And, they brought back, I think, Superman and Clark Kent from the Smallville show to the CW show just so they could play like an older Superman and Lois Lane. I just thought that was crazy.
And it sounds like, I can't remember the actor's name, but Lex Luthor from Smallville. They wanted to get him, but I guess he turned it down.
Yeah.
So they were trying to basically like bring in everything but the kitchen sink, like.
Yeah, and they did good by doing that. I think the show is really kicked off, and when it first started out, I felt like a lot of people were skeptical and they didn't think it was going to take off. But 4 or 5 seasons later, I mean, seeing what they've done, it's incredible.
I would agree. By the way, you have a challenge. It seems like Mommy Faith thinks you can figure out who Martian Manhunter is.
You think so? I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
I'll tell you, he his first appearance is in Man of Steel.
It's Man of Steel. Oh my goodness, that makes sense. Geez, I haven't seen those movies in a while. I don't know. I might have to rewatch the movies instead of Googling it and see if I can't figure it out, because I haven't seen those movies in a while. I've probably only seen Man of Steel a handful of times, and that was around when it came out, so that was a while ago. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to rewatch them and then have to figure that out. Might do that tomorrow.
You're gonna be like, "Is it him? Is it him?
Yeah.
Is it him?
Yeah.
Is it her?"
Just start sending pictures to people like, "Did you know who this guy is by any chance?"
Is that kid walking across the street? Who is it?
It's gotta be. Yeah.
But going back for a minute to the Suicide Squad, I like the point you touched on there. I agree with the first Suicide Squad, but how do you feel? You said you're pretty excited about James Gunn's Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, the second one. Yep.
Yeah. So, how do you feel the fact that James Gunn is at the helm? Like, this is a guy who directed Guardians of the Galaxy. He's very much crossing over party lines here.
Yeah. I think he's going to do well. I'll start by saying that, because the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are fun. They're not just good; they're also fun. I personally had no idea who the Guardians of the Galaxy were,
right?
And because of the first movie, I was interested enough to go actually look into it. And so I think that's a really good idea for bringing characters that people don't really know to that universe. I think he's the perfect guy to do it because he's already done it once. There's so many people that are in the Suicide Squad that they're bringing in that I don't even recognize. And knowing that, he was able to do that with all of these Guardians, I think he's going to do a really good job with bringing in the Suicide Squad.
I think so too. Basically, that's what I've been telling people. If you can do Guardians, Suicide Squad is not a far jump. I mean, you're taking both are a group of misfits. You're taking a 2 unknown group of misfits and bringing them to front the camera.
And he did really well at because of the Guardians. He was really good at bringing people that just kind of did what they wanted for their own benefit to the screen, and that is exactly what the Suicide Squad is. Granted, they kind of have to; they have no choice, but I'm really excited to see, the banter that the characters are going to have, because I think he perfected that in Guardians, between Chris Pratt's character and Rocket. I think he did pretty good at, getting their banter down to a T and carrying it through so many movies. And I think that doing that in Suicide Squad is what could potentially pick up to even another one.
Yeah, you're right, my Faith. They're going to be all new characters. Well, not all new. The returning ones are going to have Harley Quinn's back. Rick Flag is back.
Are they doing Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Awesome.
Rick Flag is back. Captain Boomerang is back. And Amanda Waller is back.
See, Captain Boomerang was one of the things I was upset about in the first one.
Oh, really?
I didn't feel like he got enough screen time.
I agree.
He's an interesting character, and I think that if they would have given him enough time on screen, then they would have been able to do something with it. I felt like they didn't really do anything with that character. It was a missed opportunity.
Right. But other than that, like you said, like you alluded to, you have all these new characters. You have Peacemaker. You have Bloodsport. You have Polka Dot Man. You know, you have all these new characters coming in, well, new to the big screen.
And they have pretty big name actors playing these roles as well, if I remember correctly.
Ratcatcher, like Mom mentioned. That's true. Soul Shariah, etc. So I'm excited about this. I think this movie's gonna be really good. James, I trust in Gunn, you know. So he has not really, as far as comic book wise, like done me wrong. As you mentioned, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies have been on point. Now, the first ones are always better than the second and the third one.
Right.
But overall, I think he's done a great job. Now, before we move on to the second half of the show, the last thing I want to talk about before we move on there is going back to your Aquaman passion, because I know Aquaman, you're wearing it proudly on your shirt.
No.
You said that Jason Momoa is he your dream casting, or did you have somebody else in your mind when you thought about a live action Aquaman?
You know, if you would have asked me this before the movie came out, I probably, like before Justice League came out, I probably would have had somebody in mind. I couldn't remember who it would be. Like, after seeing Jason Momoa play it as well as he does, I don't think they could have gone better at all. Just the way that he brings himself into the character. You know, he's got the native way of doing things. You know, he's got that just the sounds that he makes while he's doing things. You can tell he's thoroughly enjoying playing that character, and it's not just like, okay, I'm Aquaman, whatever. Like, he takes it with him. You know, it's not just I play Aquaman. This is who I am if I was Aquaman, and the way he does it, it's perfect. I don't think that they could have picked anyone else.
He was definitely made for this role. Yeah, he was. You know, especially being somebody like you mentioned before, who's so close to the water, who is Hawaiian, who, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you grow up basically in the water, I mean, playing a role for somebody who is mainly underwater is, you know, that's a match made in heaven right there.
Mm-hmm. My man, you know, like.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
So
has so much fun with it. I love it.
So we're about to move on to our second half of the show, where it's going to be very WhoKnowz13 centric. We're going to learn all about WhoKnowz13. We're going to learn about his channel. We're going to learn about what drives him, what brought him to Twitch, what he hopes to do, you're going to learn everything about him. So I hope you're ready for that hot seat, Austin.
I'm ready.
All right. Before we do that, we're going to take a short break. This is a quick video here, and we'll be right back with you.
All right, I'll be reacting to Joker impersonation by the Entertainment Nerd. And honestly, listen, it was Halloween just like 2 weeks ago or something. My friend was a Joker, and he had a pretty good impersonation. So the bar is here. All right, let's see what you can do.
My dad did not like comic books.
No.
He would take them from me and burn them as I watched.
No.
Naturally, as a kid, that made me very upset. Dad did not like that. Not one little bit. He reached over the table, grabbed me by the collar with his steak knife, and put it in my mouth. Why so serious?
Oh my God.
Luckily, we now live in the digital age. And now I've made myself a home here at the Entertainment Nerd.
I was gonna say that's you're lying. That it's not you. There's no way it's you, because that's the Joker. Because all I heard was the Joker. But then you said the Entertainment Nerd. Now it has to be you. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Pick your feet up and stay a while. Greetings, nerds. This is brought to you by Entertainment Nerd.
Wow.
www.entertainmentnerd.club. Reminding you all to keep it nerdy.
That is on fucking canny. What? I did not. Listen. I truly believe you were fucking with me. You just sent me a recording of the Joker. And I'm like, oh, so you wanted me to say you're good or whatever. That's pretty. Listen, the fact that I was about to say at the end of the video that it was good, but I know it wasn't you. I know it was the actual Joker. The fact that I was gonna say that until I heard you say entertainment nerd, you got it down to the fucking laugh, to the fucking why so serious. Oh my god, good fucking shit, good shit. I don't know if now I have some digital editing. I still don't believe what I heard. It sounds too similar. That sounds too similar to the Joker. Too similar to the Joker. I know that's what you're going for, but it sounds too similar for me to believe it. And that's great. That's freaking great. Good shit.
Why so serious? What's up?
Oh, nice.
All right, welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. That was